But those answers are only not there because you've spent your entire time looking. I had a good friend of mine who actually told me she seems to find what she says all the assholes in the world. And I asked her, where do you go looking for them? And all the places she told me were where all the assholes hang around. So how could she get it right? How could she? And all her time and effort was going off what she thought was correct. Maybe even advice from other people. So when she stopped looking, that's when she saw it. It was the last place. And this, I think what's happening right now, could be one of the most important things you could think about. There's no point rushing this. Why only do a half-assed job? Do it thoroughly here first. And by here, I mean there. And live the benefits from it. It requires someone to think outside the box. Do something new. You think about all those things that you've done in your life that were hard to start with, difficult, confusing. Did they not get easier? It took some effort. It took a different thinking. It took a different you than you. Because how could you find something different when you're being you? Does it make sense? Can't be. It doesn't make sense. There's one thing we know about this. There's one thing we know about making sense. And that's what you need to search for. That's what you should be looking for. Not the rest of it. Why bother? And I really want you to take some time to think about this dialogue. I don't even care how you do it or how long it takes you. Why rush it? So, you know I'm going to look after you. You know you're completely safe where you are right now. You have my full attention. And I'll make sure you enjoy this. Why not learn something valuable, even if you don't find the answer? Or even if you convince yourself that the answer you're finding is not good enough. There's so much more occurring without you even having to put your attention on it. Now while you do this, I'm going to talk to these guys. Just you keep doing what you're doing, no one will look after you. You can listen, not listen, it really doesn't faze me. This right now needs to be top priority for you, not what I have to say. Do apologise if you went into it and didn't want to, but just why not? Okay. Any questions? For those who've never seen hypnosis, this is the conversational version. Okay. Is that who's ever seen something like that before? Is that the first time seeing something like that? Because I will explain it to show you what's happening. Okay. First time, yes, like you. Okay, I will explain how it all came about. Now, I did want to stop at the interview, but it's hard not to really care about people. You see an opening and you just go for it. Okay. So what I want to make abundantly clear is, did everyone hear the interview process? Okay. Did everyone hear the hows, whats, whys questions? The reason, again, for doing that is because I'm looking for these unconscious moments, which we're going to spend the rest of our day on spotting these things. When I see them, or when we start to see them, what I'm doing is I'm grouping them together. Because I know if I go down this road of all the unconscious moments, I have a better chance of her going into this. What was the premise we played with at the start? Get a client into trance and keep them there. Where's the therapy? She's doing it. I don't know what she's doing. She won't even know what she's doing. I don't have to sit here and say, well, do this, do that, do this, do that, think of this, imagine this. She's in a place where whatever I have to come up with is so limited, where unconsciously, in trance, it's unlimited. And I won't know what she's done, but she looks pretty peaceful, must be nice. there's nothing good out in this world, you might as well stay there. Yes?
Well, I was just wondering, because before you put her in trance, there was a confusion technique, and she was quite surface level there anyway.
Yes.
I'm wondering if you used that confusion technique before the trance, just to like.
Could you pick that up? It's not that it was a confusion technique. What she gave me was confusing, and I just gave it straight back to her.
Okay. Like what you know, what you don't know.
Yeah, and it comes through. I could hear what she was telling me consciously, or what the unconscious mind was almost saying, "Listen to me," and I could hear that. But yes, the reason I would go for a confusion technique, I wasn't aiming for it, but she gave it to me, and I thought, oh, so we'll be able to get back to it. Okay. Easiest way to confuse someone is to use their own confusion. Okay, and we'll talk about it afterwards. And that was when she went into that next phase. Okay. Confusion tends to break the thought loop that people get stuck in, which is what we had at the start. I just want to get healthy to do this, do this, do this. We could have sat for a whole hour going through that. But I need to break that. I need to go where she's not willing to go. Okay? And that's where we start to say, well, I'm confused, I don't know. When someone says, I'm confused, I don't know, this is an unconscious moment, I need to say, stay there. She comes out and goes, well, I want to do this. I don't care. That's conscious. What I do want is her to stay unconscious where she is confused, because that's where the answer is. It's not where I think she should go, where she wants to go. She's done a thorough job of that. That hasn't worked. So where my crazy mind goes is to say, well, if the right way hasn't worked, let's go the wrong way. Because who would have thought the wrong way would look like that, right? That's just one. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
So hearing us now?
Last afterwards. Now I can see there's a lot of processing going on, there's a lot of iFly, you can see little nods and switches every now and then. So my job right now is just to look after her. She knows me well enough that I'll look after her 100%. Now if she comes out too quickly and I don't think she's done, I'll put her back in. That's why we keep saying something, I'm getting her to stay here, and I'm saying do not come out in any circumstances until you're 100% sure whatever you're doing is complete. Okay? And that would be a typical type of therapy. So at this point we can start to tell a story, for those who've done the master training, so the perfect conditions for stories. But if you break that all down, you keep in Kerry where the answer will come. Nothing I can give her out here that's a technique, or getting her values, or none of that is important. Because that's my strategies. This is hers, and this is where she needs to be. Does that make sense? So, Kerry's now in the oven. Turn the oven on high. Kerry's going to bake for a while. She'll come out when she's ready. Slowly start to unprocess that. It's a little bit out. Take time. So harder than even opening your eyes. That's another good sign for me that she went somewhere that's missed the unconscious mind going, no, slowly come back and not done with you yet. So that fight comes up. Everyone see that clearly? Take time. Indeed. So what's happening? How you feel?
Very relaxed.
Mm-hmm. What happened then?
Extremely relaxed.
Good to hear. So what happened?
I saw a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Did we ask her to see anything? She did.
A lot of flowers in a row.
Nice.
Then it sort of went like, towards the end there it was like a sorting machine.
Beautiful.
You know, like quickly putting things in.
Into
That's
place,
how it
right?
felt, yeah.
Yeah. Lucky we told her to do that, right? You see how much is occurring without us having to say anything? Who would be creative enough to tell Kerry to imagine a sorting machine? Last thing I would have thought of. Very last thing. Okay, hopefully I'm hallucinating that sound. So what else happens?
Yeah, that was.
So what does all of that mean to you? What do you get from that? How does that actually help someone get motivated and stop the excuses and all that stuff?
I just feel like doing it.
Do you hear almost like the matter-of-fact attitude? Just do it. There's nothing saying, well, I want to do it, but I don't know how. See the difference? Now we're all the way done. Who knows? But we started. And the only way we started, just from this style of therapy, is to get Kerry to an unconscious moment and saying, stay there. Whatever you stay there, that's when those things are going to come through. We didn't say anything about flowers on the side of the road. We didn't tell Kerry to be relaxed. We didn't tell Kerry to find a sorting machine. Kerry did all that. These are unconscious expressions of the actual process beginning and the therapy for us. Okay, this is just to highlight again, we're getting fairly in depth here, but just since it came up, I do want to point it out, you'll have a copy of this anyway so you can see it, is wherever Kerry goes is so far beyond my creativity, why would we bother? Now, I could tell her to walk down a beach and feel relaxed and open a treasure chest and find a note you need to read about yourself and feel good, feel empowered. I wouldn't know how to say all that because I don't know if it suits her. What I do know is once I get a client, or once we get a client to an unconscious moment, they will stay there whether they like it or not. They're not coming out until I've got some sense that they're done. And there's a way you can tell if someone's done or not, just to clear that up. Okay. So it just shows you don't have to do a lot. But do you see at the very start we could have got sucked into what's motivation? It's procrastination. It's a weight issue. No, it's not. And to be honest, I still don't know what it is. I don't need to. See what I mean about spending all our time trying to get the root cause? We get an understanding, but I'm more interested in is whatever she's telling me, is it an unconscious moment with it or is it not? That's the hypnotic interview in action. So would you guys like to learn how to do this? That's the question. Okay. How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, still really relaxed.
Excellent. So what I suggest through this exercise, give Kerry a break, okay? Because whatever's processing is a good indication that something's still occurring. For hypnotists in the room, it's that integration process we talked about. And basically what an integration process is, if your client leaves your office to relax or confused or something like that, that's fine. Because it just means something's still occurring. And in some cases, this might last for days. Can people say, well, she's safe to do things? Absolutely. You're more safe unconsciously than you are consciously. Okay, so we know Kerry, she's safe in that respect. So when we do this exercise, just let Kerry watch, it's probably the best thing to do. Don't hound her for questions. You don't want to sit there and say, well, what are you going to do instead of this? She's not at that point yet. She doesn't need to know. Something will aha moment and she'll let me know. And we have a good session. I will bill you for the session. Okay, so we're good with that. Okay. So what I'd like us to do, get into groups of 4s, because we're going to have one client, one therapist, and a couple of people watching. Okay, give Kerry a round of applause. Thanks for coming out. Thank you. Okay, get into groups, guys. Get into groups of 4s.